Washington State, rural area outside Seattle. Emily was driving home at 1:30 a.m. from her shift. She worked as a night nurse at the hospital and used the same route every night, off Interstate 90 onto a winding two-lane road, a 45-minute drive in total. That night, like always, she got in her car at the end of her shift. She was the only car in the parking lot. The night crew always left last. She started the engine, turned on the heater, placed her phone in the car mount. Her usual routine. When she got on the road, she didn't turn on the radio. She never did. She loved the silence during night drives, a way to decompress from the day's stress. When she exited the interstate, it was 1:47 a.m. She remembers because she had looked at her phone right then. Her landlord had sent a message. When she turned onto the two-lane road, everything was normal. But 10 minutes later, she noticed something strange. She saw movement in her rear-view mirror. Very slight. Maybe a shadow, maybe something had fallen. Probably my bag, she thought. She had gone to the gym that morning and had tossed her gym bag in the back seat. But a minute later, it happened again. This time it was clearer. Something in the back seat had moved. Emily immediately hit the brakes, but then stopped. "Don't be ridiculous, Emily. You're tired. Your eyes are playing tricks on you," she told herself. But still she looked in the rearview mirror. The back seat was dark. She could only see the shape of her bag. She pressed the gas again. Her heart was beating a little faster, but she tried to calm herself down. Then she heard the sound. A very, very faint sound, like a breathing sound. But she wasn't sure. Maybe it was coming from outside, maybe the wind. She turned on the radio. Maybe if she heard some music, she'd relax. But as soon as she turned it on, a thought came to her mind. If I turn on music now, I won't be able to hear other sounds. She turned off the radio. The silence returned, and in that silence, again a sound came from the back. This time clearer. A fabric rustling, as if someone was changing positions. Emily's hands started trembling on the steering wheel. She slowed down. She wanted to look at the back seat, but was afraid. If there really is someone, what happens when we make eye contact, she thought. Then an idea came to her mind. She picked up her phone, opened the rear camera, and leaned the phone against the rearview mirror as if adjusting it. She could see the back seat from the screen. At first she couldn't see anything, just her bag. But then, behind the bag, on the floor, there was something. She couldn't see clearly in the dark, but there was a shape, something human-sized, under the back seat, curled up. Emily didn't scream. She couldn't scream. Her throat had gone dry. She dropped the phone. She accelerated, floored the gas pedal. The road was winding, but she didn't care. She just wanted to get somewhere. A gas station, a house, anywhere. Sounds continued to come from the back seat. It wasn't hiding anymore. Rustling, movements, and then a voice. "Slow down." It was a whisper. Very low, very calm. It was a male voice. Emily's eyes filled with tears. She held back a sob but tried to control herself. "I said, slow down." The voice was a little louder this time, and closer, as if it was coming toward the front seat. She saw a light ahead. A house. A small farmhouse with its lights on. Emily drove toward it, honking the horn, drove into the yard, stopped on the grass. She jumped out of the car, ran to the farmhouse, pounded on the door. "Help, please! There's someone in my car!" An old man came out from inside, holding a shotgun. Emily pointed to the car. The man shone his flashlight on the car. The back door was open, completely open, swinging in the wind. There was no one inside. When the police arrived, they examined the car. In the back seat on the floor, they found shoe prints. They weren't Emily's. They were men's shoes, size 11-12. And they found something else. Emily's hospital ID. But Emily thought her ID was in her purse. In the back seat on the floor, that ID was there, as if someone had examined it, learned her name, then dropped it. The police reviewed the security footage. On the hospital parking lot camera at 1:23 a.m., 7 minutes before Emily got in her car, a man was wandering around the parking lot. He wore a hooded sweatshirt. He had approached Emily's car. He tried the doors. They were locked. but Emily had forgotten to lock the rear right door that morning when going to the gym. The man had gotten inside and started waiting. Emily doesn't work at that hospital anymore. Her new car doesn't have a back seat either. She bought a small two-seater sports car. And now she never, ever drives without looking in the rearview mirror. Arizona Desert Road between Phoenix and Tucson. David was a commercial bus driver. He worked for Greyhound, doing night runs from Phoenix to Tucson. He'd been doing the same job for 15 years, the same route. Interstate 10, straight road, 2 hours. That night there were 8 passengers on the bus. Most were sleeping. It was 11:47 p.m. David had cruise control on, as he'd done many times before, driving comfortably. The desert night was as usual, dark, starry, quiet. David was listening to country music on the radio out of habit. After they passed Casa Grande, David noticed a car in his side mirror. A grey sedan, a bit behind, in the left lane, driving fast. The car passed David's bus. Normal. David saw 50 cars like that every day. But 15 minutes later, David saw the same car again. In his side mirror, again behind, again in the left lane, again approaching. Strange, David thought. That car passed me. Why is it behind again? The car passed again, and this time David tried to look at the driver, but the windows were completely dark. Either they were very tinted, or the inside was completely closed off. 10 minutes later, the car was there again, in the mirror, at the same distance, approaching again. David started to feel uncomfortable. How is this possible? Has this guy passed me 3 times? This time, as the car passed, David really looked. Grey sedan with plates, a normal car. But he saw something. On the car's rear window was a sticker, a small white sticker. He couldn't see the shape clearly, but it was there. David thought, maybe it's a different car, maybe the same model, same color. Coincidence? But 8 minutes later, the car was there again, in the mirror. Same distance. Approaching to pass again. This time David was sure. Same car. Because he saw that white sticker on the rear window again. This is impossible, he said out loud. A passenger sitting in the back woke up. Did you say something? David didn't answer. He focused on the road. The car passed again. And this time, David saw the driver. It was a man, middle-aged, white t-shirt, short hair. He was looking straight ahead, not moving at all. Robotic. David couldn't hide his discomfort anymore. He picked up his phone, was about to call 911, but what would he say? A car passed me 4 times? It was ridiculous. 5 minutes passed. The car didn't come back. David relaxed. I guess it's gone, he said. Then he looked in the mirror. The car was there again. This time, David shouted, How is this happening? All the passengers woke up. Someone asked, What's going on? David couldn't answer, because this time the car didn't pass. It just stayed next to the bus, in the right lane, right next to David's window, at the same speed, for seconds. David looked at the driver. The man was looking at David too, with straight, expressionless, still eyes. He wasn't smiling. He wasn't frowning. He was just looking. David hit the gas. The bus accelerated. 75, 80, 85 miles. The car accelerated too, still beside him. David hit the brakes. The bus slowed down. The car slowed down too, still beside him. One of the passengers yelled, Driver, what are you doing? David pulled right without answering, into the emergency lane. Stopped. The car stopped too, right next to him. They stayed like that for 10 seconds. Then the car slowly moved forward. David looked. The man was still looking at him. On the rear window was that white sticker. David saw its shape this time. It was a cross mark, a white X. The car drove away, disappeared into the darkness. David waited there for 20 minutes. He never saw that car again. He completed his journey. When he arrived in Tucson, he wrote a report to the company, but no one believed him. "You're tired, David. Night drives are tough," they said. But a week later, another driver experienced the same thing on the same route. Grey sedan, passed 5 times, then stopped beside him. The driver just looked. And a month later, a third driver. Same car, same driver, same sticker. The company now sends double drivers for that route. No one agrees to drive alone. David still works, but now he takes the day shift. He doesn't drive at night, because he doesn't want to see that grey sedan again, and he doesn't want to see that white X on its window. Louisiana, swamp roads outside Baton Rouge. Tyler and his friend Chris were driving back from New Orleans at 2 a.m. They had watched a concert, had fun. Now they were heading home. Tyler was driving. Chris was half dozing in the passenger seat. Nights in Louisiana are different. Humid, hot, foggy. And the roads pass through swamps, wetlands on both sides, trees, darkness. Tyler had music on, but Chris said, "Turn that off. My head hurts." Tyler turned it off. They drove in silence. 10 minutes later, Tyler noticed something. On the side of the road, on the right, a car was stopped. Lights off, engine off, just sitting there. "Look, there's a stopped car," Tyler said. Chris didn't even look. "Anyone in it?" Tyler looked as he passed. No one was there. The car was empty. "Empty," Tyler said. "Probably abandoned." They continued, but 2 minutes later, Tyler saw another car. On the side of the road, on the right, same model, same color. Lights off. "Another car," Tyler said. This time he hesitated. Chris straightened up. "What? Where?" "We passed it. It was on the right, like the one before." Chris looked back. It was dark. "It must be a different car. It can't be the same." Tyler wasn't sure, but he continued. 3 minutes later, again, a car. Same place. On the right, on the side of the road. Lights off. This time Tyler hit the brakes. "Okay, this is ridiculous. This is the same car." Chris looked too. "Which car?" "That car," Tyler pointed. Chris looked. "Tyler, there's no car there." Tyler froze. He looked. Chris was right. There was no car. But Tyler swore. "It was there 2 seconds ago. I saw it. It was there just now." "Tyler, you're tired. Drive." Tyler drove. But he was uncomfortable. Something was going wrong. 5 minutes later, Chris fell asleep. Tyler was alone. And right then, he saw it again. The car. On the right. It was stopped. This time Tyler didn't stop. He floored the gas. He sped past that car. And just as he was passing, in the headlights he saw someone. Someone was standing next to the car, their back turned to him, motionless. Tyler didn't scream, but his heart jumped out of his chest. Chris woke up. "What happened?" "There was someone next to the car." Chris looked back. "Where? I don't see anything." Tyler looked in the mirror. It was dark. Nothing was there. "I saw it," Tyler said. But now he wasn't sure. When they got home, Tyler couldn't relax. Something had gone wrong on that road, but he didn't know what. The next day, Chris showed him something. "Tyler, look at this." He opened his phone. "Last night in the car, the phone was charging. Your voice recorder app stayed open." Tyler's phone had automatic voice recording. Sometimes he recorded meetings at work. Chris started playing the sound. The first 10 minutes were just road noise. Then Tyler's voice. "Look, there's a stopped car." Then Chris's voice. "Anyone in it?" Then Tyler. "Empty." Normal. But then 20 seconds of silence. And then another sound. Very distant, very faint, but another voice. A woman's voice, whispering. "Stop. Please. Stop." Tyler and Chris looked at each other. Neither of them had heard that voice, but it was on the recording. Chris fast-forwarded the sound. 2 minutes later, that voice again. "Why, are you passing? Please." And finally, where Tyler said, "Again a car," the voice came back. But this time, it was closer, clearer. "You don't see me." And then a scream, short, sharp, muffled scream. Then silence. Tyler turned off the phone. Chris looked at him. "Tyler, that voice wasn't in the car. We didn't hear it." "I know. So, how did it get recorded?" Tyler couldn't answer. That night they did research online. Highway 61 outside Baton Rouge. In 2019 there was an accident. A woman's car broke down. She waited on the side of the road. A truck hit her. The woman died at the scene. Her name was Rachel Fontenot. She was 29 years old, and people still saw her, on the side of the road, next to her car, asking for help. But Tyler had seen her, and she had been recorded on his phone. Tyler never used that road again, neither did Chris, and they deleted the voice recording from the phone. But sometimes in the middle of the night, Tyler's phone automatically starts voice recording, and when he checks in the morning, there's always the same thing on the recording. "Why are you passing, please?"